Oh man, it has been such a long time since I've made a video. We back with a teaspoon of foolishness, baby. How you guys doing? All blessings and prosperities to you guys who clicked on the video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope your families are good. Hope you're healthy. And just be blessed and be happy with the life that you have going forward, man. You know what I'm saying? Things will clear up soon. So like I said, I was so wrong about Warframe. How was I wrong? I've said a lot of things in my past with Warframe. You know what I'm saying? I've tried to predict a lot of things, look at the game from a critical point. And I kept saying that Warframe have to be careful. They're going to mess up. This formula won't continue. Blah, 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 blah. Right? I've said all that. The thing that I was really wrong about was I didn't think it would go wrong so fast. I didn't think it would be bad so quick. So Warframe, if you guys don't know, they're going through like a really tough time with these third-party companies that's trying to buy them. They're kind of like in a tug of war right now between companies trying to buy them out. So with that being said, whenever companies are trying to buy out your game, things never really necessarily be the same. Okay. So someone said to me, Rio, you can't really blame Warframe for anything that they've done because we're in quarantine. I said, huh? I said, I don't know, dude. I think I've been making Warframe videos before February of 2020. I don't think I was quarantined for 7 years. You know what I'm saying? So one of the major things with me that I was wrong about, and this really showed me how off I was, and it's not a good thing. And here it is. DE try to introduce tougher enemies because they feel like that's what veterans want. They feel like that's what you want. And I'm talking directly to you guys. They feel like that's what you want. That's what I've been screaming. That's what you've been screaming. That's what they've heard. But that's not it. That's not it. That just truly showed me the major disconnect. Like, if you give us tougher enemies, we want the content to match it. You can't just beef up the enemies and that made everything better. No, it's kind of like my car, my transmission and my battery is dead. It's not working. But I went ahead and instead of buying a better transmission and a better battery, I went ahead and bought a new coat of paint for my car. And I'm like, yo, this is lit. Don't you love it? And then I'm like, wait, I still can't drive the car though. And that's exactly what's going on because Warframe's foundation, the foundation of the game, it's bad. The engine is bad. The battery is bad that's powering this video game. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. For when I'm critical about the game, I love the game, bro. I don't have to sit here and prove to you guys that I love the game. I'm trying to help the game. The foundation is wrong. And that's the battery. That's the life. That's the engine. That's what carries the game. So if you can't make the game, like give it a newer engine, and I'm not talking about engine as in like an overall graphics. I'm using a metaphor as in a car metaphor. Okay, please don't be so literal. All right. So if you can't give it a new way to run, it's not going to be the same. So here's what's happening. Nothing's going to change. If you can't give the game a different way on scaling, a different way on your reward system. Warframe's a looter shooter, so looting is the whole point of the game, right? But their looting is bad. It's not good. They have incredibly low drop percentage. The rewards of after you get something isn't rewarding. After you play something for a while, the loop mechanic, which all games have, if you guys know, don't be so literal. A loop mechanic, right? A loop is something that keeps the players going, but you don't feel like you're running in a loop because you're doing other things to detour you while still doing the same thing. But it's so fresh and it's so refreshing that you really don't notice it. But Warframes is very tiresome. It's like, you know, you're just gonna sit there, spam globe, do this, farm, and you're done and you leave. Warframe needs a new loop system. Okay, replayability is pretty bad. The progression system is not good. The intro to the game is not good. So when you look at all these basic core fundamentals that they're supposed to be following, you look at it and you think to yourself like, yo, son, what have I been doing? But not necessarily what have you been doing. What has the game been doing? What are they going to do to keep themselves afloat? Now, I know that they've been working from home, tugging between different businesses that's trying to get the game. A lot of people feel like it's going to be mobile game transactions, microtransactions. It's kind of weird because, you know, Warframe always had crazy microtransactions, but they did it in such a great way. Now, let me elaborate on that. Warframe's microtransaction, it sucks if you really pay attention to it, but it's better than how a lot of other games suck. Okay, let's be fair. The other thing is they did such a great way on handling microtransaction that the player base feels like it's not a lot of microtransaction in the game. Now that's amazing. Okay, now that's a fresh take on video games microtransaction to where they don't get blamed. Now they should take that same formula and apply it to the gameplay loop to where it doesn't feel as neglected as other game modes feel neglected as other things go. Now I will give them props on their microtransaction because the player base doesn't feel like they're spending a lot of money on the game. Now you may have spent a lot of money. You may have paid the transition faster and, you know what I'm saying, pay the fashion frame, all of this. But the thing about it is other games get blamed for it, you know, like EA companies, but Warframe doesn't because they did such a fresh take on it so early. You know, that players feel like, well, you don't have to do anything. It's free to play. That's good. That's the narrative you want to keep. You feel me? That's the narrative you want to keep. Now, they just need that with the gameplay loop, the reward system. Now, if you guys notice, I'm going to call this one lazy. The reason why I'm going to call this one lazy is because the reward system been the same way for so long, for years and years. The gameplay loop has been the same for years and years. The scaling system has been the same for years and years. So when you look at these things, they haven't really developed a way to position themselves in a better direction for the future. Okay? You have all these games catching up. They're in a very tough spot. They having players just logging in, not even truly playing. But those players that are just logging in and just getting off, it's pushing their stats up to make it seem like players are still really active when that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? They still have a lot of players, but it's not as much as the number shows because a lot of these players aren't truly really playing their game. They're just sitting on there because they have nowhere else to go. Now, let me tell you what keeps Warframe afloat. Why these players are scared to get off. I'm not telling you to get off. I'm just explaining to you. It's the simple fact that is nostalgia. A lot of people has been playing this game for the end of elementary. Now they're in high school. The end of middle school. Now they graduated high school. So it's a lot of nostalgia of a game that they basically was a kid with. And a lot of people for 7 years at a job, yo, you remember that. You started a job with Warframe, you're still here, and you're still playing Warframe. So a lot of people are still playing it out of feels and out of love. Kind of like how you have that same love for Dragon Ball Z. You played it as a kid. I mean, you watched it as a kid. You played it as a kid. It's that same nostalgia with Naruto. Naruto's lit. Dragon Ball Z is lit. Just putting that out there. So what can they do to actually change this up? And I feel bad for them because I didn't want to be this wrong that they were so disconnected that they feel like they could just drop tough enemies and not change the gameplay loop and not change the current direction of the game. And a lot of people feel like, you know what I'm saying, we're too tough on them or Warframe is doing the best that they can. I don't feel like they've done the best that they can. I felt like they played it very safe. I feel like they played it safe because the community was giving them the options to play safe. And I feel like that's what it came down to. They played so safe that now that safe isn't working. And now I feel like they're now scrambling to try to find a different direction. Now they're feeling like, yo, what do they want? I don't know. Probably just read the forums a little bit from the past 7 years. I don't know. I don't know where you could get this information of what we truly want. It's crazy. It's like the player base hasn't said anything or given any feedback for the past 7 years. Okay, I'm just playing. I've been practicing being a villain. It hasn't been working out very well. I got to practice my laugh. So when I look at this, 2020 to 2021, I don't really see nothing big for Warframe. Now, I hope I'm wrong because then it gives me something to cover. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these YouTubers are covering Warframe and no one's really talking about the core topics or the core issues and stuff that's going on anymore. People are just making their build videos. They're carrying on. You know what I'm saying? The epidemic is going on. People's got mouth to feed, families to feed. I completely understand and I respect that, homie. Keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. But as far as the core game, I don't really feel like the core game. See, it's outdated now. A lot of it is outdated for how long the players have been in. You can't keep doing the same thing for 7 years. You have to bring something new and refreshing to the table. You know, you have to bring something new and refreshing to the table. And that's what's all about a good game. You can keep the same game loop, but just add in little things that make it feel truly fresh. And everything that Warframe tried to add in was thrown away so fast to the wayside. Like the players were just like, yo, this is trash. We don't rock with this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. And it's just so tough for me as a player, somebody that's been playing the game for so long. Now I know a lot of people be like, yo, Rio, this game's dead. Leave it alone. I told you guys I want to see where this game ends up. I do. I truly want to see where the game ends up because it's a game with endless possibilities that don't really show you that it has endless possibilities. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit tit for tat. It's a tit for tat type thing. And this is too much El Chupacabra foolishness for me. And I'm looking at it like I didn't want to be wrong so fast because I thought Warframe was a little bit more connected to their community because they have one of the best community teams. So I felt like they were a little bit more connected, but they are so far gone, bro, because they feel like, hey, if we give them tougher enemies, they'll get off our backs. No, you kind of just need to change the structure, you know, the looting, the rewards, the gameplay loop, the starting point, you know what I'm saying? The progression system. What it is that you're going to start adding to the game, you know, like how do these things transition? How do I transition from weaker enemies into tougher enemies? What is the point of me transitioning from weaker enemies to tougher enemies with the reward system? You know what I'm saying? How does the reward system fit me from a newer player, from a medium-sized player, well, I would say casual, to an endgame player? You know what I'm saying? You guys can't say endgame isn't real because all of these YouTubers live off of endgame builds, and that's why you click the video because you see it say endgame builds. It's like you don't want endgame to exist, but you love clicking those videos because you're like, oh my god, this is my endgame build, which means it's a double entendre. Like, what are you guys saying right now? You know, it's a little bit weird. So when I look at these things, a simple hand rub doesn't feel the same anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm losing skin out here, people. I'm losing skin out here. Come on, man. But when I look at these things and I see it, I'm just like, yo, you got to learn how to keep up with the times. And I feel like the devs are outpaced by the game and the player base. And if we're being honest with these third-party companies, with Warframe being in a little tug of war right now with who's buying it out, I feel like these people are going to bring in fresh devs, fresh faces, different things. I'm not saying that your Lotus is going away. I don't think so. She's the voice. But I'm saying they need other people's ideas to really push the game's narrative to a completely different standpoint. It definitely needs it at this point. I used to joke about saying that, but honestly right now it's at the point to where they need to keep the same people and just rotate in between different ideas from an outside source of people who is going to be coming into the company right now, because the game's getting outdated when it's not the type of game that can be outdated. It's the type of game that just lives on with the time because it's so easy for them to change it and keep up with their player base, you know? So sitting back and just being gone for so long from YouTube, because you guys know YouTube is a hobby for me. I just have fun whenever I choose to do everything else, take care of family, make sure I'm good. But whenever I have time, I drop some YouTube videos, and I'm kind of back now. So when I look at these things and I see the way how it's progressing, bro, I'm just like, man, that's pretty awful. That's pretty El Chupacabra Matagante. I don't know what that means, but it's a word of the day. That's pretty bad, you know? So as always, homies, man, like I appreciate you guys coming through all my TED Talks, you know what I'm saying? Just having good convos, speaking from different point of views and try to show the game from a different light. But it's all love. How do you guys feel about, you know what I'm saying, different management? Not taking away from the management we have now, but just different people coming in with core ideas. All love. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but love and prosperities to you guys. Hope you guys are blessed with your families. Like I said, keep taking care of yourself. It's crazy times. Nobody's going to look out for you like how you would look out for you. So make sure to put you and your family first in these tough situations. And if you can help others, make sure you do it within your own means. You know what I'm saying? So all love to you. I love you guys. Take care. Stay prosperous and have a dope day, homies. All love, man. And we back with a teaspoon of foolishness all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Not too much. Just a little teaspoon, a little sugar, a little sugar. Oh my gosh.